How y'all doing? Welcome to the Superman and Lois Talk, where we're going to talk this amazing show. So, we are your hosts. I'm Durban.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Lisa.
And we got the premiere of Superman and Lois. Now, we have this other channel where there's another person, Brian. So, four of us who do an epic Smallville podcast, The Wall of Weird. So, you should definitely check out The Wall of Weird. But since we're such Superman fans, not just Smallville fans, but Superman fans, all of us really liked this premiere and just wanted to dive in and talk about it. So, Nicole, I toss it to you and you go ahead and lead us in our conversation here.
And so this was exciting, and now we're doing a live show, so this will be fun. We hope we get everyone involved. So we're gonna just go scene by scene here. This show started off with a lot of explanatory of what Clark's life was before, because this takes place much further into his life. So, we see when his ship drops down, and then we see Martha and Jonathan who find them, a little shot of when he was little. He got powers pretty much right away. God,
poor parents.
I don't know how they did that, but then from there we see a shot of Jonathan dying in the streets of Smallville and the funeral. So Jonathan, it looks like Clark might have been 17, 18. I want to say. It's tough to tell with Hollywood actors.
It really
how old the character was, because they certainly didn't tell us how old he was. But I would hope that Jonathan at least lived till most of his teenage years. That was for sure. Yes. I think that would be a critical time for him. And then he goes off into Metropolis because he after his father died, he needed to find new purpose, and we have a great shot for this.
Oh yeah, my favorite actually.
Yeah, so he's got the old style suit. Durban probably could talk about the comic.
Well, I love the homage they pay there. I mean, you got the green car, and that's just clearly homage to like Superman issue #1, and like almost every version of Superman in some way will pay tribute to that. But the new thing is that suit, and those are the animated series from the 1940s. Like to this day, I think the animation on that is amazing. Just the movement of the characters whenever Superman has a fight scene, and it's just a very cool animated series, and very cool that for the first time in live action and this Superman's early life, we got to see that early suit. So that was very cool to get that. And plus, the kid saying, "That's an awesome suit. Thanks. My mom made it." This very classic Superman. It's so great to get that.
Yeah, he was kind of, happy and a little naive, it seemed, but you definitely got that young Clark Kent feel. And then he goes into the Daily Planet, starts working at the Daily Planet, and meets Lois. Love at first sight basically happened there. And from there, they have a kid, or they actually have twins, twin boys, fraternal twin boys. And then we learn a little bit about the boys.
So here we have Jonathan.
Jonathan was easy. Always happy, always smiling.
So we can talk about right here, I don't know any kid that could throw a football, or actually any person that could throw a football and break the rope.
That's funny because it feels like this is supposed to be a fake out, right? Because it's a little predictable. The weak one with the social anxiety, he's going to be the one with the powers. And the strong one who's an athlete doesn't. But he broke a freaking rope with a football.
Maybe it was faulty.
Yes, maybe it was faulty. Yeah.
The rats had been at it.
I thought for sure, Jordan was going to be the one that had the powers. I saw this and I was getting a little confused. And as we went through the episode again, it seemed too easy that it was Jonathan. It seemed too obvious. So of course it did end up being Jordan. But the thing is I don't think it's settled that Jonathan doesn't have powers.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about it. And they could pretty much do whatever they want with this. They could have different powers from each other. Maybe they don't get all of Clark's powers, just some. Each of them have some, and it seems pretty clear that Jonathan has the strength now.
It looks like it, and it definitely looks like it's watered down because he's the episode opens and he's playing football and all that stuff, and so if it wasn't watered down, he'd probably be killing people on the field without meaning to, like in Smallville when Clark accidentally tripped and destroyed that guy's collarbone, So
is that his invulnerability though that did that? Not necessarily his.
I think it's probably a mixture of his momentum, his strength, and his invulnerability, and Mitzel-Pitalik, making him trip. So all of those things tossed in together, he lost control temporarily.
Yeah, I mean, I think both the kids they're developing differently than Clark did. So
yeah, well, they got human DNA, so they're not 100% Kryptonian. This is like a new species born.
Yes, exactly. So they literally could do whatever they want, and I feel like I don't think Jonathan's completely normal human, but based on that clip, I'm sorry.
Yes. It's like they do a good job the rest of the episode, like he's normal, right? So the rest of the episode, I don't feel like there's too many other signs. But no, I don't. Yes. But I don't know anybody that could throw a football and destroy a rope, unless it's like what Lisa said, it's already faulty.
Yeah, but he's only like 6 in that show.
Yeah. Which was about Clark's age when he took that plastic toy ship and threw it through the house.
All right, so let's learn about Jordan now.
More challenging. Tantrums, night terrors. A year ago, he was diagnosed with social anxiety disorder.
Yeah, I'll say that shot really kind of hit home for me. I actually have two sons as well, and they're not twins, they're 2 and 6, but my 6-year-old definitely has some anxiety issues and he has some outburst issues. So that scene, I was like, oh God. I really felt connected to it on a very deep personal level.
But that's the nice thing about Superman, right? I mean, people have done good jobs with the stages of his life. Like I related to Smallville because as I was graduating high school, going through college, I had Smallville getting me through that. And now you are a parent, you have 2 boys, and you're watching Superman be a parent and have 2 boys.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that CW seems to be making stuff for our generation. So
yeah.
I was a freshman in college when Smallville started. I'm a parent when this one is. So it's not the only show either, like Boy Meets World and all these other ones. They seem we're like the TV generation. So now they want us to share with the next generation. So they have both generations in this show represented.
Yeah.
As well as the other shows they rebooted too, like
which I don't think Girl Meets World did anywhere near as well as Boy Meets World, but this premiere for Superman and Lois holds the promise to have that true balance of new and old fans coming in, relating to Superman at a different level, and also maybe relating to his kids and where they're at.
Yep. It does. It seems the quality seems to be there. It's also with Girl Meets World, it's a different time and
yeah.
Yeah. So from there, we start to go to this action sequence of, we get a little bit of clips of some of the things that he gets when he, as Superman. There's some nice shots there where he's pushing back a smoke.
Or like when he proposes to Lois, like that.
Oh yeah,
scene
that's right.
Beautifully filmed. Actually, that whole intro was brilliant because it took everything we knew about Superman that we already knew and already lived through, but took us through it again, got us attached to these versions. And I'm glad they did this, because I did not like Crisis on Infinite Earths, where he had the one kid, and then because of the crisis, all of a sudden he's shocked that not only does he have two, but they're teenagers. It's like he seems shocked by that revelation in Crisis on Infinite Earths. And it's like, did he miss all their lives unintentionally?
Right.
So I'm glad they did this, because on the one hand, it separates it enough from Crisis on Infinite Earths that you don't need the Arrowverse. This stands on its own. But enough is there that it still has those roots in the Arrowverse.
It's also not Smallville canon.
Yeah, definitely.
It seems much closer to the comics to me.
Yeah, and I'm glad it's not Smallville canon, because I like Tyler Hoechlin, but I would not want to see Tyler Hoechlin portraying, Tom Wellings.
Yeah, then.
Yeah, I definitely like the distinctiveness.
Yeah.
But it is nice because he doesn't age, and they even address that in this episode.
It's a good gene.
So they could do those flashbacks, and he looks the same, and it makes perfect sense. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's great that they took us through his life so that we could be invested in and know what his history is. That was perfect.
Yeah.
And start to get invested into this world, into this canon, into these characters, before we have this really spectacular action sequence.
And here we go.
This is probably the best display and use of Arctic breath I've ever seen.
I think I agree with that. And I love the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, but it's better than what they did in those movies. There's one where he froze a lake and just picked it up. This was pretty brilliant. And the trailers look good, and it looked theatrical, cinematic, not just like a TV show from the trailers. But when you're watching the show and you see this action sequence happen, it's kind of like they must have taken a cue from WandaVision and from what Disney Plus is pouring into that stuff, because this did not look cheap. It was awesome.
Yes. It blew me away. I said, okay, this is definitely Superman. Let's see what Superman does now.
Yeah.
He froze the ocean.
And then he lifts it up.
That blew me away.
Oh, me too. And it's funny because Superman Returns is by a long shot not my favorite Superman movie, right? Yet that scene looks so much like Superman Returns and paid such homage to it. I just sat back and I went, that's just so awesome what they just did there. So I just totally respect the path they took with this premiere.
It was beautiful. And then we have, what's he going to do with that iceberg, Durban? I love that shot, that close-up there. And the music.
It's a really great shot. It's funny, though, because I'm watching this live with my wife, and I felt bad because I loved the shot. It was beautiful. But I remember looking at Laura, and I went, I know the radiation in that nuclear facility is not hurting him. But if he goes home now, does he have radiation all over him that's going to hurt his family? I get that he's fine, but what about everybody else around him for the next 500 or so years?
Well, he might not absorb any of it.
That's true, because he's already kind of a radiation being.
So how did Durban, you want to play that clip on, how did Superman know about that?
Oh, yeah. Let me, hold on. I think this one.
Come on, Superman.
The heat exchanger's offline.
Now, I have a couple comments about this device.
Yes.
First, I want to give them props because I was saying in Smallville way back when, as soon as someone knows a secret, why the heck don't they have and he has the super hearing, some way to signal him when there's an emergency. So thank you for having that. But why the hell is that thing so big?
The funny thing is, I was just going to say, it's less cheesy than the watch. Like Jimmy Olsen used to have a Superman watch, and he would push the button on the side that would call Superman. And I guess for some reason, I like that device better because it feels like a military device. Like if the military had to call Superman, they don't have this cornball Jimmy Olsen watch. They have this device. And so there's a part of me that like that.
I can see from the military. But then when they have Lois have the same device, that's not discreet. Like, you can't easily carry that with you. Like, you know, she has going to have first of all, women's clothes don't have pockets. So she's going to have it in her purse and hope that she gets the purse with her whenever she's in mortal danger. And then there's a bad guy out that has her, and she's going to be like, let me take out this big, it's just not discreet enough. Now the watch would have made sense for Lois. And for
I can see that.
I can understand that big device for the general, you know, like he's got other devices and, you know, he's, you know, I get it there.
Now, I gave up Supergirl quick, but on Supergirl, did Jimmy Olsen have the watch? Did he use that to call Supergirl or Superman?
He did, yes.
Okay. I thought I remembered him having it. So she could have had it. If this is the same universe, which a little bit later in this video, I want to get into a discussion on, is this the same universe? But if this is indeed the same universe and Lois is supposed to have something more discreet, and we already established Jimmy has the watch, I kind of feel like she would. But I don't know. I'm torn. I agree with you. It's a big.
Then they established in this episode, Lois took that same device out of her coat pocket.
Right. Yeah, I'm torn. I don't know. I mean, for General Lane, makes perfect sense. But at the same time, I thought the watch was a little hokey. But then I get what you're saying. Like, what if her purse gets stolen? You know, it's like,
she needs a much better fashion accessory.
See, because the difference is that Lane is probably not going to be the one. Sam isn't going to be the one that's in mortal danger, right? He's alerting him to danger. So it makes sense that he could, like, get out the device, or, you know, he can take it out discreetly because, you know, he can look to see who's looking, you know, right? But when you're talking about someone like Lois, she's going to be calling him if it's in a very, you know, common situation, non-military type situations. And it's probably going to be when she's in danger, or the kids, right?
Yeah.
But if she's in danger, if you're the one that's in danger, you need it to be discreet. Otherwise, they're going to, like, even in, you know, even a little button. If someone can tell you push a button, sometimes even that's not discreet enough. But that thing is so obvious and huge, and cumbersome to carry around. So maybe
it could have been a brooch or something.
Oh,
some other fashion accessory.
Any piece of jewelry would work. Between a watch, a necklace, a bracelet, anything. A ring.
I will say nothing is foolproof, because in the Smallville season 11 graphic novel, Lois has the watch. And there's the scene where she's in Africa and they're under attack and she has to dive under a car. And her watch, I forget what it gets caught on, but it gets caught on something and breaks off immediately when Lana saves her.
Lana.
Anyway.
Well, nothing is foolproof, but that's gonna lead to, when she's diving under the car, she's not gonna have her purse, okay?
That is very true. So yes, even though I find the watch a little bit hokey, I can understand its practicality a little bit better than that big thing.
Yeah. So we'll see what they do with that, because if they continue with that and she gets in situations where she can't get to it, I'm gonna be like,
and don't you think his sons would need a device now that in this episode the reveal comes and they find out who their dad is afterwards? Don't you think they would need some kind of device as well?
Yes. Okay, so Superman just saved a nuclear reactor, and what does he have to do after he saves it?
Well, he's got to go home.
I gotta get Foswell coffee first thing in the morning.
Okay.
Your plate's in the fridge. Jonathan's got some news, and apologize to Jordan. You missed therapy today. Sorry about that.
You missed therapy today. Oh, man. Superman and therapy.
Oh, yeah, but it's just like, I mean, if there's anything that brings Superman down to earth, it is that moment, right?
Yeah.
Comes home, here, your dinner's in the fridge. Gotta go talk to this son, and the other one, you missed therapy practice, whatever, right?
Yep. Oh, man. It's interesting because it takes this tension that Clark has always had to the next level. And I said this in my review on my channel, where you go to Smallville, and the whole tension is his friends don't know his secret. He wants to connect with his friends, but when they're in trouble, he's got to save them without revealing his power. So in doing so, he loses opportunities to connect with them. He has to lie to them. He has to keep secrets from them. But at the same time, they're alive because of everything that he did. And now this takes that to the next level. And there's this part of, like, my wife was watching this going, why won't he tell the kids? And I just went, well, I mean, if toddlers knew their dad is Superman, inevitably they're going to say to some other kid, my dad could beat up your dad because my dad is Superman. That secret is not going to stick for very long. And
it's not even like when my 6-year-old tries to lie to me, it's like so obvious. That's why that was the other thing that I had a hard time believing in Smallville. With a small child that has powers, you're going to put them in kindergarten and first grade.
Yeah.
First of all, you're going to control your abilities there enough so that no one knows. And you're not going to tell anyone. No, you're not going to slip up at all. Like, I can understand young children. It would be way too difficult. The secret's a huge burden.
Yeah.
So I get that. And it took 10 seasons of Smallville for me to really get it, but
Yeah, well, it's fun. There's one of my other favorite shows is Community, and one of my favorite characters, Troy, says to Abed, he says, I don't know why Superman kept it a secret. I would have told everyone immediately. But you watch Smallville, you watch Superman and Lois, you get why. He's got to protect his family. He's got to protect those vulnerable who are closest to him. And so I like how it takes that tension to the next level. He wants to connect with Jonathan and Jordan, but he's missing opportunities to connect, not because he's an absentee father, but it's because he's absent saving the world, which they happen to live in, so therefore saving them. So it's like this unique tension where he's not really present, but it's not for bad reasons. It's very interesting how they present that. And now what is he going to do?
It's not even just that, but he has to put on this persona around them too.
Yeah.
Because we find out later, that he can't even climb up the ladder for the Christmas tree without falling over. Like, so he has, in order for them to not find out who he is, he's got to act different. He can't even act himself at home. And that's kind of sad.
Oh, that would be.
I mean, at home and at work, like, where does he get and then even when he's Superman, it's kind of a different part of himself. So it'd be hard. You'd lose part of your own identity, I feel like.
And you still have to end up lying as well.
Yeah, I guess I'd say that I don't necessarily think not telling people protects them. I think that it releases the burden of having to carry such a big secret.
Yeah.
Because anyone around Superman, it doesn't matter whether they know. Actually, not knowing can sometimes be more dangerous than knowing.
It's true. But can you imagine this particular Superman, like, all of his life, this secret. So now he finally has Lois we could share this secret with. And so he could come home and be himself. And then he has kids. And now it's like back to that secret.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So whenever his kids are around, he has to. So, when does he get to be him? I mean, at least he can share some things with her in private. But they have to be really careful when they share it in private. Thank goodness none of their kids had super hearing.
Oh. At least not yet. Watch that develop here real soon. But oh man.
Yes. So Superman came home, and after a long, hard day of working at the Daily Planet and saving the world, and
getting laid off.
Well, I don't think he got laid off yet.
Oh, I can't remember the order, but it happens.
Yes. So now he's gonna go and talk to Jonathan and see what's up with him.
Some of the upperclassmen are pretty ticked off.
Oh, don't worry about them.
Worry? That's awesome. You should have seen their faces. Dad.
So I thought what was interesting is when I just saw the previews for the trailer for the show, I was like, I'm probably not gonna like this Jonathan kid, you know, he's going to be this jock that's kind of
Jock.
Yeah.
But I was completely wrong, and when I saw the show here, and this scene was part of the reason why, you know, he's just a happy kid. I mean, the way he takes things in stride, and he's not chauvinistic or anything about it. You know, he's got confidence, but not in a way that puts other people down. Nah.
Yeah. And that's what I liked about it, because, you know, especially after we learn a little bit more about Jordan here, though, but I love the relationship between the two, because instead of it always being this competitive thing, it was a supportive thing.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that just added strength. By not having that drama, it added strength by having these two brothers supportive of each other. And I really like that.
Yes. And you know what else I noticed? That the two brothers kind of are part of Clark's personality, different parts.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true. That is very true. Because
Clark definitely has the Jordan side too, you know, where he feels like an alien, and he has a hard time fitting in, and he struggles with his own feelings. So, and then you have the happy Clark, you know, like we saw in when he got the Save the Green card. I feel like that was Jonathan right there.
Oh yeah.
And I love that he named him after his dad. I really like that.
Yeah, that was really cool. It's funny because, like, I think it's Superman Reborn. I haven't read those comics, but that's where Superman, I think, has a son named Jonathan. And so you get to watch Superman teaching him how to fly and stuff. From what I understand, I haven't read it. I don't know much about that story. So it is cool to see that live action, but I like that they did something different. Like, they didn't just take this storyline off the page. They added a twin son to this. And I didn't catch what you said before, but it's really cool because you do see the two extremes of Clark's personality, the Jonathan as the Kal-El personality, confident, and, you know, Jordan, the Clark personality, trying to figure out how does he fit in this world. And so it's very cool to see that. So I didn't think about that. So now when I go back and continue watching the show, I'm going to see that 100%.
Yes. So let's go to Jordan now.
Yeah.
Pretty good Superman.
Superman's boring. I'm Raiden.
Huh.
Super boring.
Super boring.
Little does he know.
Oh gosh, he's gonna eat those words later.
Well, it's even funnier because, as we find out later, he is the one with the powers. So he is the one that we know so far who is going to be Superman.
At least have some abilities.
Yes. Like we said, he's a new species. We don't know how either one of these two kids is really going to develop until the show continues. I bet you we'll save Jonathan until the season finale. Like, in the season finale, there'll be some cliffhanger reveal where, you know, we'll go back to Jonathan throwing that football and it broke the rope. Like, he's got something, and I bet you they'll save it for the end.
He's going to have to save somebody using his strength.
Yes. Yeah.
It's going to be...
Which means he'll sacrifice his football career because it won't be fair.
We can definitely get to that part of Jonathan later, because that'll be interesting. But I did like the realism of... Also, you can tell that it's 2021 or 2020 with the video games they're playing, the teenagers and music up, and it just it's very timely. And then it was very classic father-son scene, which we get to see in a Superman show, which is really cool.
Only reversed. This time the son has become the father, and Clark is the one trying to relate to his kids and help them.
Yes. So the next scene, we have them at the breakfast table. You know, we have Jonathan picks on Jordan a little bit. But I think that whenever he's picking on, he's not doing it to hurt him. I almost feel like it's kind of his jokingly way to help his brother out in some way. Or to make light of things that are difficult for him.
Because I never felt like Jonathan disrespected his little brother or was outright against, because even later, he makes a joke about heat vision, but we'll get to that when we get there. But it's this idea that he does make light of certain things, probably because he's just trying to break tension. But I like, even though he is like that, being your typical, maybe slightly older brother, they're still very supportive of each other, and they have a really good relationship. And I keep on hammering that because I feel like the CW is always looking to throw stupid drama that is unnecessary. And I am very proud of them for not being themselves and having strong relationships right from the beginning.
Yes. And I hope it stays that way.
I do too.
There's a lot of things that can happen there. So then we have Clark and Lois going to the Daily Planet. They're talking about if they should. Lois is telling him that he should tell the kids the secret. They're old enough now, and she thinks that it's a good idea to tell them. Clark really doesn't want to give that burden to them, and I like the little line where he says, "And your father agrees with me," and she said, "Since when do we care what my father thinks?" And which way, I forgot to mention earlier, but I wanted to say that I love that Sam knows.
I do too.
Who Superman is, and it just
Definitely.
adds another level, where he's connected to them on a very personal level. He knows who Clark is. He knows who Superman is. And from that scene that we saw when he called him up, if you look carefully at that clip, he turned away, and so no one saw what he was doing. So it wasn't like people said, "Oh, Sam, go call Superman."
Right.
So for me, it was, okay, General Lane knows, but no one else does know that he knows. And that kind of helps keep him safe and helps keep Clark's identity safe. So I thought that was smart.
Yeah. And it's very cool to see Sam Lane. The only other time where I think Sam Lane knew Superman's identity was in that old Lois and Clark show, The New Adventures of Superman in the 90s. But Sam Lane wasn't a general. He was a scientist, and Lois and Clark wanted to have a baby, so they had to run some tests to see if that was even possible, and so he had to reveal his secret. So, like, it's I like this better. I like seeing him as the general. I like you said, turning his back, keeping Clark's secret, calling Superman, and, because it means Superman's not owned by the military. Like, he hasn't given his identity to the government. They don't own him.
Right.
And it's Sam Lane respecting that, respecting his life, respecting his family, respecting all of that, and kind of keeping that a secret, but also like, dude, we need you.
Yes. And I think that it would be a bad idea to reveal himself to the government. And I think that was the thing I didn't
There's a whole storyline that shows us what a bad idea that is. And that's the Dark Knight Returns storyline.
Yes. The government is definitely, I wouldn't trust them with that secret.
No.
Plus, he can get properly involved with his grandkids as well, taking them fishing, etc. Whereas in Smallville, Clark couldn't get close to Martha's dad for the fear of finding out his secret. Yeah, especially when you've got a toddler with superpowers running around the house.
Yeah. So it's like, especially if you're a Smallville fan, it is extra rewarding to like have an in-law in on the secret and being good with that secret. Like it's rewarding to have that.
Yes. And he really appreciates Superman. But at the same time, as we find later, he's worried about his daughter, because it's not he knows it's not a normal life as much as, and he probably wants that for his daughter because that's what she wants. So I think that's where the conflict comes in between him being with her. It's not because he doesn't think highly of Superman and Clark. He does. It's more of what that burden is to his daughter.
Yeah. It's that line that he has, you fell in love with Clark Kent, but you married Superman, and Superman can't have a normal life.
Yeah, and General Lane definitely thinks of Superman as part of his army. I get that feeling, it's...
Yeah. You see the respect there because of the family, but yes, I could definitely see, maybe if Clark never married Lois, maybe Sam Lane would be pushing more, dude, you need to belong to us.
I think he feels that way a little bit, because I just got that feeling through the whole episode, the way he, kept going to him and saying, hey, you need to do this, So I think he would like to own him. But,
yeah, I think so.
It's a unique situation where Clark can tell him and be connected to the government without them knowing about him. So that's good for him.
Yeah.
Well, who wouldn't want Superman in their arsenal?
Yeah, exactly. You're undefeated there.
But the level of trust and respect that he has for him is very high for him to keep that secret.
Yeah.
Okay. So then Clark gets laid off, and we hear the first Morgan Edge is taking over the Daily Planet, and that's the big kind of overall story that they were seeding throughout the entire episode, that this corrupt business person is taking over a lot of different things, and kind of gets you asking questions about what's going on. I mean, the Daily Planet controls the news, which controls how things come out, towards his business dealings, what gets hidden, what doesn't, what the narrative is. He gets to control that. And so that's really big. And after Clark gets laid off, we have a little scene between Lois and Clark. Ow.
You're gonna need a no excuse for being gone all the time.
That is a good line. I mean, what do you do if you're Clark Kent to avoid suspicion? Because as a reporter, it makes sense that you're there where the trouble is. But what's he got? What's his excuse now? And when Clark is nowhere to be found during the day, when Superman's flying everywhere, it's like, what's the new excuse?
Right, and I love that. Here you go.
Yep.
Thank you.
Morgan Edge is an interesting concept that this thing introduces to me, because we all do the Smallville podcast, right? So for us, Morgan Edge is a straight up mob boss. Like, there is no secret about it. He's not a secret businessman in Smallville. So it feels like Morgan Edge falls into the Lionel Luthor category here. Like, he's bad, he's crooked, but I find it suspicious that he bought the Daily Planet. And I'm sure we'll talk about it in more detail later, but the stuff he's buying up in Smallville, and they're all things centered around Clark.
Yes.
And we haven't even seen his face yet. And yet I am suspicious of this dude and what he knows.
Me too. I want to talk about that. I have similar theories, I think, that you do about
Awesome.
this guy. Yeah. So after that little talk, then Clark gets a phone call.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Fry.
Which we forgot to play the other scene with his mom earlier.
Oh, well, how about I do it right now?
Yeah, let's do it right now.
I'm trying. I really am. I don't want to let anybody down.
That was a great little scene between his mom and him. You get to feel the relationship, what kind of character Martha is. And, you get the feelings of Clark, all that weight on his shoulder. Not only is he trying to save the world, but he's trying to raise a family and prioritize that, and it's great to see that vulnerability in him.
And I love the reestablishment of the typical relationship between Clark and his parents, because you go to, the Snyderverse, the DCEU, and you have that same thing where he's always calling his mom in the middle of the night, or flying to the farm, and, she's trying to give him that wisdom, or any version of Superman you go to. So it's amazing how small her role is in this, but in such a short time, they just reestablish that power and how much that is a rock to him, and then they take it away.
They do. I did. Part of me really wanted it to be Annette O'Toole because it was a small enough part, and it would have been a nice way to kind of, I feel, play homage to Smallville.
Yeah.
I'm sure they had their reasons. That was my.
I
thought the actress did a great job, and it was well portrayed. So no complaints there. And it did. You got that. This episode really did give you that feeling of that history and that closeness that he had to his parents, which is really important to establish because this is an alien.
Yeah. And so I'll just play this clip right here because my wife and I are watching this in the morning and we looked at each other and said, we're not supposed to feel this way this early in the morning. The last time in Superman lore where Martha was dead was in Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, which is a terrible, terrible movie. But I was sad when that movie opens and Clark lands in Smallville and he's selling the farm, indicating Martha is gone and he's trying to sell the farm to genuine farmers. And I thought, like, when they showed the emptiness of the farm, I got the feels there. And now you have this show that has already done a great job bringing me into all the characters, and now we have to watch her die. It was heart-wrenching and so well done.
Yeah, I mean, I started to tear up in that as well.
Yeah.
That was definitely a feels moment. You know, I mean, boy, this episode is huge, right? I mean,
yeah,
huge. All right, so from there we go to the funeral. So they all go to Smallville and they do a beautiful funeral scene, and we have
it was very reminiscent
back
of
to when
Smallville.
Jonathan died, right? They kind of connect the two, you know, because now he's lost both of his parents. And then they have a little, you know, after the funeral, they go back and they have a little, the party, although.
What's that?
It's 1 o'clock. Don't you need to take your pill or something?
Who are you, Mom?
Someone's got to watch out for you.
Clark here?
I love that because Jonathan's taking care of his brother, and it's like such a loving little gesture that he did.
Yeah.
And his tablets just turned up on the table. I never saw them appear.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like...
Don't know if that was a continuity error. But in one shot, they weren't there. And then the next, they were.
I didn't notice that. I'll have to go back. It probably was a little continuity error, but...
Yeah.
You know, showing our Jordan with his social anxiety disorder nose into his tablet and Jonathan taking care of him, where Clark and Lois are a little distracted taking care of the funeral and everybody there.
Yep. And and he knows, and we get established also that he's, you know, on some sort of medication for his anxiety. And then someone else shows up to the party.
That's him.
Well, your daddy and I went to high school with Mr. Kent.
You dated him. That's why Daddy got mad when he saw you on his Facebook page.
Hashtag in the Lana drama.
Now
oh.
Come on, the fans have been asking. They want Lana to show up after Clark is with Lois. There you go.
You know what? Let me say this. So far, I like this Lana. And it'll be interesting to see what they do because her husband's a bit of a jerk. You know, like it's like
Definitely.
she married Whitney. And so the husband is a little bit of a jerk. But that I don't like that introduction to Lana because here she is married, stalking the Facebook profile of a married man. I'm just like, no.
No, hold on. I don't think she was stalking. She just added him to his friend. I mean, who wouldn't want to find out? I mean, did you not add all of your old high school, you know, people that you knew in high school to your page?
I have a
Plus, you know, who wouldn't want to see what their ex was doing?
Yes.
Apparently, they just dated in high school. So, but we could talk about that with the Smallville podcast.
Yes. So join us on the Wall of Weird when we get to season 6 and touch on that episode.
Hear about us talk about
Nicole's favorite, one of my most angered.
So, I appreciate it. So apparently, Lana's going to be a big part of this show, and her whole family.
Yeah. If they do it right, I'm happy. Like, because after that moment, I don't mind this Lana so much. Like, you could tell she likes Clark. She admires Clark. She might have a little bit of a crush on Clark. But I don't think she's going to cross any lines. And I think this Clark is noble enough to put the hand in her face and say, talk to the hand. You are not crossing that line.
I don't see that kind of drama coming up. They're both married. And it doesn't make sense for them to have Clark stray. So I don't think that'll ever happen.
Well, it's the CW. That's the only reason I even threw in that concern. But they established strong relationships this episode. So I have confidence.
They did, and if it was another,
I think the drama's going to be on the kids.
I agree. I think the drama's going to be on the kids, and also, Clark is the kind of character he is. They really can't go there, I don't think, with his character.
Yeah. Though, if we take a little bit of Smallville canon, even though this is not Smallville and doesn't follow Smallville canon, let's use our imaginations here. Jor-El came to Earth and dated Great Aunt Lana. Clark dated Lana, and now Clark's son Jordan has a huge crush on Lana's daughter. What in the freaking world is wrong with these Kent boys and the Lang people? This is really irritating.
Well, some people would say that they're like soulmates at that point.
Those universes don't connect. That's all moot. But it was a hilarious thing that me, a fan of Smallville, thought of while I was watching that. It's like, wow, always goes back to a Lang.
There's a lot of future drama going to come with the kids, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
I mean, even a little started it in this one.
A little.
And now, what's interesting is that the first scene that we have, the next scene we have in the kitchen here with the with Clark and Lois and Lana, and I forget her husband's name.
Kyle.
And her husband seems like a total asshole.
He really
did
does.
Not like him at all in that scene. But you know what? As we got further into the episode, and we'll talk about, my opinion of him changed a little. I started to understand him a little bit more, and I was glad that they added the additional layers. But my first impression was like, I don't like this guy at all.
But he added an interesting point, which is going to bring interesting conflict to this show, because the point that he made is in that kitchen scene when he got all political, he said how people leave Smallville, they get their degrees, but then they don't come home. Like, they don't learn their new thing and bring that home and help their home that raised them. Instead, they go off into the world. So Smallville is faltering, and Morgan Edge presents something good and buying up the land and giving people work, even though Lois and Clark, it's like, well, we agree jobs are good. Morgan Edge is bad. And he's like, well, what's your proof? And so it's interesting because it introduces not just a tension with Kyle, but it introduces this overarching plot for season 1. How do we actually save the town Smallville?
So, what's really interesting, and again, I think his personality kind of it's a little rough around the edges. And it took me a little bit more to get to the full understanding of where he was coming from. It's just, like I said, it was just a first impression. Like
yeah, but we find out later at the bonfire, though, don't we?
Once you start to understand more of where he was coming from, and he's right in a lot. I mean, it's kind of, the town is falling apart, and he's there. He's there trying to keep it alive, and that burden, and honestly, it's very real and a very scary. There's a lot of small towns across this country that are falling like this one. Where drug problems are increasing, people are leaving, there's no business, then people don't have jobs, and then things get worse and worse from there, because they find other ways to try to make money, or they try to survive. They're under too much stress. So it brought a little darkness to the show, where this is a different Smallville. This town is gone down the tubes, and it's sad but real. Yeah. So I understood his perspective as I thought about it, and as I saw more of the episode, as they were sharing what was going on in Smallville. So, and then I empathized a little bit more with his character, and I felt a little bit more compassion for what he was going through.
Yeah. So. And it helps you understand, why Lana loves him. Like, he is a good dude. He is a firefighter. He is a hero. She seems to have a thing for heroes. And he's trying to save the town, like you said, like in his own way, be there for the town, bring his skill to the town, use it for the town. So it does add a interesting layer.
Yeah, so from there we have this other Clark and Lois scene where they're kind of talking about where their life is right now.
No one ever dreams about the problems, but every life has them. Even the extraordinary ones.
And that's what's going to help all the audience relate to this character.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a really good line because, in some ways, I think all of us want some extraordinary in our lives. And here's Superman, who is the definition of extraordinary, living a very normal, mundane life that also has trials and tribulations and things that make him very human. And so it takes, again, this godly character and brings him down to earth.
And then General Lane shows up, and we find out some more information about what's going on with this nuclear reactor. There was some Kryptonian language found there. I forget exactly what it said, but definitely
I think
said
it
Kal-El.
mentioned Kal-El, but I can't remember
Kal-El.
what it yeah. It was something that's like, hey, I know more than you think I should know.
Yeah, so they know that someone is out to get Clark or Kal-El knows about him and is testing him. And then he said, all right, you need to go out. And then this is when he gets to, you're my soldier and you need to go and do this. And then this happens.
I don't know if I have that scene.
No? Okay. So Lois says, you're not leaving. You need to, I know the world will always need Superman, but right now your family needs you more. And I felt that was one of the first times in this show that we saw the real strong Lois character come out, her assertiveness come out. Yeah. And she's, standing up to both Clark and Lane, and Clark says, you're right, which is not something every woman wants to hear.
So I got my brownie points because I said the lesson in this episode is your wife is always right.
Yes, so he does not go off because basically she's saying it's not an emergency.
Yes.
And right now we need you here. Your mom just died.
Yep. It's funny because in Smallville or any other time in his history, he could have rushed off. He could have read the writing for himself. He could have walked around with supervision, super hearing, super smell, and found some more clues and put some more things together. But that's the cool thing about this scene is it's like, no, your life is different now. And you have these responsibilities. And I believe this scene comes right before or right after his kids found out who he actually is. And
not
so
yet.
it is.
No, it's before.
We're not there yet. Okay.
We're not there yet.
Real tender moment either way
of
he's got to put his family first.
So after that scene, then we go to the bank and we learn a little bit more about what's going on with the house. So apparently Martha's been trying to be her own superwoman and save everybody in town by bailing them out financially in all sorts of situations, health problems, mortgage issues, college
food on the table.
So half of the mortgage she's got out on loan with a reverse mortgage. And, there's a lot of, which another real, I remember when they were doing a lot of reverse mortgages, they were, and you wonder what kind of situation you're really putting yourself in with those. And it's mentioned that Lana mentions that there was a car crash with her and Pete. Apparently they went to school with Pete and they miraculously all survived.
Yeah, that was fun.
and Lois and Clark just look at each other. But everyone loved Martha.
You want to see a scene like that.
So there was that. I know we didn't talk too much about the kids. You know, there was back at the party, we have Jordan and what is her name?
Sarah.
Oh, I can't remember her name. What was it?
Oh, Sarah Conroy. Yeah. Yes. So we have Sarah. There's a ship, obviously, there between Lana's daughter and Jordan. She's definitely got her eye on Jordan specifically, not which, you know, you think it's going to be Jonathan because he's kind of, you know, the good looking, strong, you know, charismatic guy, but she feels more relatable to Jordan.
Yeah, which is a nice touch, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
And I like that Jonathan was playing wingman to Jordan, like doing what he could to get the two talking and, you know, pump up his brother and all that stuff. I thought that was cool.
I think there, I don't know if I must have missed writing this down, but I think before they went to the mortgage, actually that night at the party, there's something that happened in the barn that they weren't supposed to go in the barn, but they go in there anyway.
Yes. And they run into...
What are you doing? Do not touch that. Oh my God. Did you see that? Did you see that? What the hell was that? No.
Yes. Well, I want to get to that.
I just realized as I hit play, you're probably referring to...
Now talk about a fake out.
Yes. It really looked like Jonathan was Superboy saving his brother.
It did. And also, I love that Jonathan is a hero.
Yes.
Like, he sacrificed himself for his brother. And, he, you know, it's not like he knows he has powers and does it either. He does it, you know,
He's doing it.
Throws himself into the line to protect his brother. And you can kind of see the whole relationship between them. You have Jonathan trying to protect Jordan, which is very interesting given what happens later in this episode. So
yeah.
It'll be interesting how that dynamic changes. And then, yeah, after that happened, they're like, how come we survived? And what's interesting is that Jordan is the one that's questioning things, that wants to know more. And Jonathan's more like, I don't really want to know. I just want to continue living in my...
Yes. Talk about taking it in stride and just moving on. It's like, yeah, it happened. We live. Whatever. And here's Jordan.
Whatever.
Well, okay.
Jordan's like, no, I have to know. And then he drags Jonathan, and then and they go and they see the ship. And what a cool ship! What a cool effect!
Oh my gosh. The whole design of that ship was awesome. Like when the episode opens and we have the inside point of view of baby Clark, and the ship opens, it's like all slimy and gross, but it cuts to the outside and it's all metallic and cool. But it's like the ship, it's like this programmable matter, living skin that is awesome. And I love when Jordan touches it and it like opens for him and it hands him this orange crystal.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. Why didn't he tell his dad about the crystal?
I don't know. Is that a crystal? Is that kryptonite? I don't know.
I'm betting you it's one of the building blocks for the fortress or something, but I thought the fortress is already built. So this is going to be interesting to see what is this particular crystal. Did it realize Clark had offspring, and did Jor-El anticipate that? I don't know.
I doubt it.
I don't know how you could anticipate that, but he got a crystal.
I don't know, but obviously because of his DNA, it worked, right? I mean, that had to be it. Now,
I wonder if it would have worked for Jonathan.
Jonathan didn't go near it, so he didn't. They leave that question open, so we don't really know exactly. So it's still this, what's going on? You know, so that was another clue that, you know, Jordan's definitely got something. I still think Jonathan does, and that they're trying to play us again. I think they're double playing us, but
I think so too.
Plus, Jordan wanted to know. Jordan wanted to know what was going on, so he might have got that off of his mum from her investigative journalism skills. You know, he wants to know the truth.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's something I liked about Jordan, is that he kind of has that inquisitive nature about him. That part of Clark that we saw all in Smallville.
Yeah.
I got to find out the truth. You know, I need to know. So, and he's the one that found the trapdoor, and
yep.
So that was cool.
It's cool to see all of that in reverse. Like, I mean, no matter what your Superman lore is, you know the origin of Superman and that he didn't always know he was an alien. He somehow discovers the truth, or Jonathan shows him the truth, but it's always that trapdoor. And under that trapdoor is the green crystal in Superman the movie, or this ship in Man of Steel, or in Smallville. And so it's cool now to reverse this. And this is his kids in this situation.
And 14, same age.
Yes. At the age when Clark found it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's almost like these kids are like the Clark Kent of Smallville, but split. You know, his personality split.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Okay, so let's see. Then we have, I believe I wrote this right. The next scene is Clark goes and meets Luthor.
Well, before that, we have the kids finding out his identity. Like,
oh, I'm sorry, you're right. The reveal.
Jordan comes. Well, hold on. Let's see this moment. I love that shot.
I just, you know, so we didn't show the other one where that was in the trailer, and I know, I think it's been shown to death, but I feel like not enough attention was on that part of it. It was so neat the way he picked it up. It looked very.
Yeah. Well, I love this silhouette where he's behind the truck and he picks it up with one hand. Just, it looks like a graphic novel moment, and his kids just sitting there in utter disbelief. Holy crap, our dad is Superman.
Yes. We didn't know all this time, amazing.
I did like
that level of deception.
The kids had the understandable anger that they've been lied to for so long, and that's why you're not there for us all the time, and this, that, and the other, and especially Jordan, like, okay, my anxiety and these feelings that I've been having.
Mm-hmm.
You telling me this could have helped me make sense of that so long ago, and you withheld that from me. I liked that drama was there, but I like that it didn't stay there long. Like, they did a good job working through that in this episode and ending us in a good, strong place.
Yeah, I mean, there's a tough line there where he said, Jordan tells Clark, he says, well, you may have been sent here to save the world, but you certainly weren't sent here to be my father.
Yeah.
Father. And that really hits Clark hard.
Yep. Yep. Which leads us to the scene you're talking about, because what's cool about that is, here's a moment where Clark wants his family first and foremost, right? He's feeling his utmost insecure at this moment because he is not connected with his kids. They know the truth, but now he hears something going down at a nuclear power plant.
That's why you're choosing nuclear facilities. You could watch me without me knowing.
And see how good you really are, Cal.
See, I love the difference here, that when Clark heard something was going on there, and Lois said, go, we'll be fine. It's like, at one moment, she knows, okay, this is the emergency, go save the world. On the other hand, there's that previous scene where it's like, no, your family's first and you're staying here. So it's like, I feel like Lois is real the weight to reality here. Like, she's got that balance, and it's very cool to see that illustrated in that moment, and then to have Clark facing off this mysterious villain that somehow knows everything about him.
She's very supportive in every way. I don't think that he could ask for a better wife.
No, especially with Lana. He definitely could not have had a better wife than Lois.
I never said Lana should be his in any universe. But
I do like in this scene, so you hear the voice of the stranger, which we get a big reveal later. But what's interesting about the voice of the stranger, and I caught this when I was doing clips for my review, where the stranger says, where I come from, you and me have history. And Clark asks, where did you come from? He goes, doesn't matter now. My world has been destroyed.
I was thinking Crisis, but...
That, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a Lex Luthor from another universe that I guess is maybe left over after Crisis and somehow managed to survive and come into this universe.
It could be anything. It really... Yeah. But yeah, I feel like it has something to do with Crisis on Infinite Earths. The reason why he's there.
Yeah.
He knows so much. So, yeah. Imagine if that was Michael Rosenbaum.
Oh my gosh. The Smallville Lex Luthor somehow fell through the dimensions and came here. That would have been pretty cool.
Yeah, I know, but Michael wouldn't have done it. But
no, he's done, and that's fine. It's sad.
He doesn't want to be bald anymore. I think that's a big part of why he left it.
I get that. I would not like my head shaved every day for 7 years.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I spend 3 hours in the makeup trailer.
Oh my gosh, no. Oh man. But that bald cap in the series finale looked really bad. But this Luthor, this was very interesting. And they intermingle two conflicts here. So first you have Clark and this guy, and they're fighting. And I gotta say, this fight looks spectacular. Like again, when they're fighting around the world, like maybe a movie does look a little bit better than this, but this definitely was head and shoulders above your typical average CW show. They are fighting in space, and it looks fantastic.
It does. Oh, and the flying, just looks great in this show.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, I've seen Superman fly and just like, okay.
But then this is intermingled with drama with the kids. So you have Jonathan and his brother, Frodo Baggins, and they end up in this incredibly interesting scene.
You're still that scared, lost child, desperate for the love of people that will never accept you.
Yeah, so first we have Jordan and Sarah talking, and they're talking about the pills, and apparently Sarah also takes pills. She's on an antidepressant probably because she almost OD'd on her mom's pills. And it was a lot of backstory going on in that family with her dad, sleeping on the couch, having a hard time dealing with what he's seeing around him, which is affecting the relationship, affecting him as a father. And then it affected Sarah. And so that's why she feels connected to Jordan. So Jordan gets daring and kisses her. And apparently she had a boyfriend who decided that the reaction to some guy kissing your girlfriend is to beat the shit out of them. So what's interesting
and Jonathan rushes in to protect his brother.
Yes. He does. And by the way, he didn't even know where Jordan was. Because he said, it took me a while to find you because you didn't tell me you were going to this party, where the party was, but he found the party. He shows up just in time to try to save his brother.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, okay, well, maybe now Jonathan's going to reveal something. And, because they really they had this fake out thing going where, I was leading to Jordan, but then they kept showing us Jonathan. I was getting confused. And then, he has the heat vision and almost blows up everybody at the party.
Something that Jordan has going for him in this scene, our Clark got his heat vision in a sex ed class. And this one got his heat vision when he was really ticked off. I feel like Jordan got the better end of that deal.
I liked what Smallville did with the
I did too.
I was a little disappointed that they didn't connect it to that,
Yeah.
He was lucky that there was already a bonfire and his eyes were pointed towards it.
Yes.
And,
for sure.
Yeah, so heat vision is not connected to sexual feelings in this show. It seems more to do with anger. And what's interesting is that didn't happen until he saw his brother getting beat up.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool that his powers activated too because he was worried about his brother. So you really start to see that, these two brothers really loving each other. But at that moment, they're both bleeding, which really confused me.
It means they don't have invulnerability. Remember, they're not Kryptonians. They are a new species.
they just showed him falling 30 feet and all these pipes falling on him, and all he got is concussion, and then he gets kicked a few times and he's bleeding. I was very confused.
Well, think about it this way. In season 3 of Smallville, when we learn Superman or Clark's powers come from the sun because of the solar flares, when the flares are doing one thing, his powers are drained, and then they're doing another thing, and he's in overkill. So we don't know how, like, if their powers are connected to the sun and the sun is down, that doesn't matter. But the point is it's maybe something like that. We don't know how the powers are working. His adrenaline went nuts when those pipes were falling, and this feeling of control came over him, and perhaps that's when that power activated. And then this time, I guess it's not invulnerability, but his heat vision activates. Maybe as he gets older, it'll all be one and the same, but it feels like it's...
Well, yeah, I mean, I could see him getting stronger as he gets older and stuff, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Maybe he has to have that activation of the powers, and that's what happened when the pipes were falling. That's why he doesn't always have invulnerability.
Yeah.
So I like that explanation. That's a little less confusing.
But I love how what Luthor is saying to Superman. Here, let me play that again, because I love this line.
You're still that scared, lost child, desperate for the love of people that will never accept you.
So we have a clip of the beginning part of that line, if you want to show them fighting, and then we can talk about it.
Oh, all right, here we go.
Like me, your home was destroyed. You were sent here as an infant to a world where you spend your whole life trying to prove your worth.
Yep.
Yes.
But I love it because that line, it definitely applies to Superman and his growing up, but it applies to Jordan. And so taking the drama, to me, this is how you do that kind of weird teenage drama right. You have this drama going on with these teenagers that is legit, combined with this action-packed drama that is happening with Superman and the Stranger up in the atmosphere. And the way they overlap those scenes with that voiceover, it fit. And it fit with the journeys of these characters so well.
Definitely. It was very suspenseful scene. Very interesting, you know, because you got both dramas at the exact same time, and we're going back and forth. And so from Superman's perspective, the guy in the suit stabs him with a kryptonite dagger. So
again, very Superman Returns. Like I'm loving these little moments where they pay this type of homage. Like I love it.
Yeah,
so
and
cool.
So Lois at that point finds out on the news what happened at the
quarry.
At the quarry, which is very realistic, by the way, to have a bonfire and drinking of teenagers at the quarry.
And did you get the Easter egg as well with what the mine was called?
No.
It was Schuster Mine.
No. Explain that.
Yeah.
I think I missed this Easter egg.
I'm pretty sure this mentioned it. They called it the Schuster Mine.
Interesting.
So yeah. What is that? What is the Schuster Mine? Lisa?
Joe Shuster's was one of the creators of Superman.
Oh. Okay. Well, that's even cooler.
Yeah, and there's more Easter eggs as well that I've spotted along the way, which we can discuss at the end.
Nice. Okay. I love it. I can't wait to get into those. I love little Easter eggs like that.
Yeah, so she uses the same device as we talked about earlier, that Lane is telling him that he needs to come home. And as she's calling him, he's falling to the earth with the kryptonite in him. Yes. And I'm thinking at the time, like, is he gonna fall to the ground and Lois is gonna take out the kryptonite? Like, it'd
be too much of a coincidence if he fell on Smallville, and I'm glad it didn't happen that way.
Yes, it didn't happen that way. I was wrong, and this is what actually happened. Which, by the way, it's daytime because he's in China. So they did really well with that.
Beijing and it,
Yes. Yep. And it was funny because I watched this with my husband, and he said, "How come it's daylight?" And I said, "Well, it's China. It's the other side of the world."
Yep. And that was just a cool moment, though, because, like, I love that whole, again, it's them taking everything. It's taking what's going on with his kids, taking what's going on with him, and combining it all together. It has that tension of him fighting the stranger, saving the world, and then it's this revelation his kids are in trouble when he hears the thing from Lois, and he's like, oh, crap. And that's the thing where he overpowers the kryptonite and rips it out of his chest and has that hilarious moment landing in front of that dude's car, which I love that moment. But it's so well done. Like, seriously, I forgot I'm watching a show. I feel like I'm sitting here watching a Superman movie the way they did it.
Yes, and yes, because it, his father instincts came out. Like, I have to be here for my kids. So you're right. That's why he was able to. A lot of people ask, how come he was able to pull out the kryptonite? It was because he was so overcome with the emotion at that moment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to talk about him overcoming kryptonite, in Superman Returns, he picked up a kryptonite island and threw it into space. I think he could handle ripping a little kryptonite blade out of his shoulder.
Well, if it's in my experience with Smallville, they'll do whatever they want with kryptonite.
It is very true. I can't wait till we see the different colors of kryptonite in this show. How will they affect Jordan? Oh, that'll be fun.
Oh, Red Kryptonite episode. It'll be interesting.
Oh, yes. That will be fun.
Okay. Yes. So a nice, after he stops right before getting the car, he flies off and he's in Clark's clothes again at the quarry, and he's going to help his sons. And Jordan is really upset because he realized that he almost killed people.
Yep. But did you notice it's funny because I felt like at one part I was a little mad at Clark because when he realized Jordan was the one with powers and not Jonathan, like you could just tell he had that assumption. Jonathan's got powers. It's Jonathan who's powerful. And then as soon as it's Jordan, it's like this glass shattering look on his face. And I'm like, Clark, were you playing favorites among your kids?
No, I think that he was just shocked and also, trying to understand and what that means. He's never thought of Jordan having powers before.
Yeah.
I think it completely threw him. It's like, what? Jordan? It can't be him. And I don't think that he was playing favorite. I mean, obviously Jordan's more challenging of a child, so now he's got to, which is we have that great scene. I think that would be the next clip with
at the dinner table.
Oh, we have the dinner table one next. Yeah.
Yours are manifesting very differently than mine did.
But we're gonna help you get through this, okay?
Yeah, it's probably like learning to drive a car, if cars were indestructible and had giant death lasers as headlights.
Yeah, so Jonathan's making light of it.
He looks so much like Frodo in that scene. I can't get over it. He looks so much like Elijah Wood.
So, I mean, when I first saw him, that's what I said. I said, oh, it's Frodo. Oh, that's interesting.
Frodo with heat vision. That'll take care of the ring.
Yeah.
But that was a good moment because, like you said, it's Jonathan. I don't think he's trying to be a jerk, but here he is, like, seriously just trying to lighten the mood. I mean, they've just been through so much junk, and he takes things in stride. So this just kind of fits his personality. So they've been through a lot. He's taking it in stride, and you kind of get the feeling he's trying to help his brother take it in stride. But he's also forgetting this is a crisis for his brother. This is strange.
Yeah, and Clark's like, whoa, I don't even know how, this is a whole new ballgame because this is not what happened with me. So I don't, but I think it's great because it gives a great opportunity for Clark to bond with Jordan. And then we get this scene.
The scene where he's on the front porch with Jordan?
Yeah.
You were right. I haven't always been there for you. But I promise you, from now on, I will be.
And that scene was a scene where I was like, I really want more. I'm really interested in how Clark mentors Jordan and brings him through. So
it's like this is the moment where Clark Kent becomes Jonathan Kent, because for Jonathan and Martha, Clark was unheard of. It was all new. And because everything is manifesting different with Jordan than it did with Clark, it's not like Clark is treading familiar territory where he can help him. Like I've been saying, Jonathan and Jordan are a new species. They're not human. They're not Kryptonian. They are something other. So again, this is Clark becoming Jonathan, doing something new nobody else has done.
Yes. Yep. Very neat. Very a lot of great drama beats here.
Yeah, and not the over dramatic CW drama beats, but appropriate story drama beats.
We get something. I think I missed the scene earlier with Jordan and Jonathan talking about the text messages and.
Oh, I think that's our next scene actually, right here.
John, about the powers.
It's all good.
Huh?
Yeah. Powers are overrated anyways.
There's Jonathan
taking text messages, but
yeah, no, yeah. The earlier they had one about before they went to the party, but then there's this one too. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a good one again because Jonathan's supporting his brother and not straight up being envious that his brother has powers and he's left in the dust.
But I'm wondering how far until Jonathan breaks.
I'm wondering. Just think about this, right? They decide to stay in Smallville, and that means Jonathan leaving his football career in high school, which is pretty awesome.
Right. I mean, he's a freshman, going to be a starting quarterback in one of the top-rated schools for football.
Yes.
And he has a girlfriend. And, you know, Metropolis has a lot more social scene. And he's going to come to Smallville, give up, maybe play for Smallville team, which is going to be like much lower, you know, much lower down the chain. You know, he's going to leave his girlfriend. He's going to go from population, you know, probably over 1,000, maybe 2,000 kids in his grade to maybe, you know, 800 in the whole school or less.
If that. Smallville is small.
I don't know how small it is in this
That's
universe.
True.
And
That's
they
true.
tried to say like 20,000 in Smallville, but yeah, realistically, a small town like that, there probably only be 200 kids in the whole high school, and you know he's not going to have all those social opportunities. So, I mean, Jonathan's taken a huge hit. And let's talk about how Clark decided to stay in Smallville.
Yes. Trying to figure out which clip that is.
Is it Home Sweet Home?
It is Home Sweet Home. But I don't know where it went. But I do, pretending we're flashing that scene up, I love that moment where Clark is deciding, and he looks over, and there's that thing that Martha made that says Home Sweet Home on it. And I love it. Or not Home Sweet Home. It goes by so fast. And Clark realizing how much he's missed, even if it's for good reasons, he's still missed a lot. And so this decision to stay in Smallville is a pretty powerful decision. Oh, wait, here it is.
These are the important years, Clark. Life's a little different in Smallville.
The thumbnail looked drastically different, but there it is.
Yes. What a great moment. And then we, you know, get Clark coming back to Smallville. All right. Yep. And every parent has those thoughts. There's moments, there's some days that seem long, but the years go by fast. Yes. And, you know, and they're 14. He's only got 4 years left to really bond and make an impression on them. So he's got to step up and really help them at this point.
And I think that's a really great.
One of them has powers, because let's be real, they could be very dangerous, and they could go a lot of ways with this. Whether they're going to turn these brothers into good versus evil later on in the series.
Yeah, and I've been wondering if they'll do that. I hope not, because I love them as they are right now.
But it could start off like Klex, you know, where it starts off like really close, and then as the series progresses, they.
But see, that's what's great about this, because Smallville, while they're doing something unique and different, it's building to something we all know. So there's certain paths it can't take and other paths it kind of has to take. This show is a whole different point of Superman's life. I mean, this is probably after Doomsday, after he dies and he comes back, after all these major events in Superman's career, this is after Crisis on Infinite Earths, we have free reign now to explore an entirely new area of his life. And that's kind of exciting because will the two brothers turn against each other? Will Jonathan be corrupted by the Lex from another universe? Like, what will happen here? Like, this is going to be really interesting to see what direction this show takes as it begins to take shape.
Well, Jordan seems like a little bit of a darker character than Jonathan, but that doesn't mean it'll stay that way. Especially, like I said, Jonathan's world's being turned upside down. There's got to be a breaking point there.
And I don't know why I see it that way, but I do. Like, I see if the two brothers split and one becomes good and one becomes evil, I really do see Jordan as the good guy and Jonathan as the bad, and I can't even tell you why. But it's just for some reason that's the way I predict it, because they really wanted us to think Jonathan had all of the powers at the beginning of this episode, but it turns out it's not. It's Jordan. So
yeah, and I do want to say that the moment that redeemed Kyle for me was back when he was the fireman. He came in as the fireman to put out the fire, and he was the hero in that moment to help everyone out. So really kind of put everything together for that. And then they bought the farm back. I don't know how they're going to pay for that.
I don't either.
I mean,
don't either.
There's a lot of questions with what they're going to do with Lois, because is she going to commute to the Daily Planet? Is she going to quit? I don't
Work
know.
from home, since that's a thing now in 2021, and you could do that. So who knows?
Yeah, but she's a journalist. She has to go out in the field and get the stories.
It's true. She could just be at a different field. So, like, I don't know. Like, but you're right, because like, what will they do with Lois?
I don't know. That's interesting. Or is she going to work for the small town newspaper instead? And
which
obviously
I bet you will get bought by Morgan Edge. That'll be hilarious.
Right. I mean, Morgan Edge is going to be is taking over the town, and he might be looking for kryptonite.
Yeah.
My feeling, because he was buying out those farms. There's
and that's what Oliver Queen did in the Mirror universe in Smallville. He bought up the farms.
Thinking, especially when we get to the ending scene. Yes. So I think from here we can play the last two scenes. We have a nice closeout scene of the family coming together.
Those fields aren't going to plow themselves.
Okay, but Dad, we have questions. We just found out our dad's Superman. I mean, like thousands and thousands of questions.
And thank you. You know how many times I wanted something like that in Smallville after someone found out his secret? Like, of course you'd have thousands of questions.
Yes. But instead he's going to show you how to fix a tractor and, you know, all that stuff.
Yes, yeah, but you know that's going to be going on like off screen, so
yeah, I'm sure that's really cool.
I'm
really happy that ended. So I'll reiterate what I said earlier. I like that they didn't end it with the kids still mad at him for lying all this time, but they ended it with this level of understanding and acceptance and excitement to learn about their dad and his true identity. I thought that was a great way.
Like, wait a minute, you're super, you know, after they got over that first one, like, well, look at what you've done, and, you know, I have to know more about you now. And now he can finally be himself at home.
Yes! Once again, he can be himself. Which is going to make farming so much easier.
Off the ladder on the Christmas tree.
Yes. Now he can decorate the Christmas tree and
with no ladder. He can just hover and put the star up and stuff now. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It'll make life on the farm a lot easier. That's for sure. Imagine if he had to hide his powers while running a farm. That would suck. Because obviously you're going to run this farm, which is full circle. You know, we went full circle, which is very cool.
And I like this full circle because, again, like I said, now we get new territory. We are exploring Superman where we don't know where this is going to go. There is no destined path from this point forward.
And then we have the closing scene.
I'll start the upgrades to your armor right away, Captain Luthor.
It's not John Cryer! Yes!
Captain Luther. Who could that be? I mean, it has to be Lex. What's interesting is they said that was the last bit of kryptonite, which the first thing I thought was, where's all the kryptonite on this planet?
It must be the kryptonite from his Earth.
I'm just used to it being everywhere,
Yeah, me too. I think Smallville's the only version where it's spewed out everywhere. And they did that to give Clark all these villains growing up in high school, and other versions don't need it everywhere, so it's a bit more rare. And so I guess it just depends what do you like. I love Smallville. I don't mind it everywhere. I love Man of Steel. It's fine if it's a rare element. But I think
when it's everywhere, it's more believable when he just stumbles upon it in certain situations. So we'll see what they do with it, because they have to find ways to depower him, because otherwise it makes things too easy. So I think that's why they throw in kryptonite a lot. When they did it in the pilot. I mean, I'm sure they're going to do it. So it's like, how believable is it going to be if it's rare? But that's what makes me think he's connected to Morgan Edge, because if there's kryptonite anywhere, it's going to be in Smallville.
Yeah,
is my thought. And if Morgan Edge,
but is that kryptonite from our world, or is it the last bit of kryptonite Luther brought from his universe?
Good question. I don't know, but I think that was my thought, is that Morgan Edge and Captain Luther are somehow connected to each other.
I thought that too, and I am looking forward to seeing the truth of that. But I think my biggest relief is that it's not John Cryer. And the reason that's a big relief to me is not just because I dislike that version of Lex Luthor, but it's because I think that Lex Luthor is very cartoony, and this was very cinematic. Like, this did not have a cheesy, cartoony feel to it. And if you throw John Cryer into that, I feel like it's going to ruin this chemistry that they have going on right now. So the fact that the ship said Captain Luther at the end, I just threw my hands up in victory and said, okay, I'm with you on this, because right now this is all matching in tone, and John Cryer does not match the tone that this episode established.
Yeah, so I wonder if it's anything like the Arrowverse, where it's like a time traveling ship too.
Yeah, because it could be, for all we know, like his universe was destroyed in Crisis. It could be traveling through universes and time.
Yeah, if you're in the temporal zone or something that was protected, maybe that's why he didn't.
And maybe he made his way there. Maybe when in Crisis on Infinite Earths, when John Cryer wrote himself in the book to take Brandon Routh's Superman's place, maybe few other Lex Luthors got pulled into that safe zone somehow. Who knows?
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of questions whether is this in Earth Prime, or is this another Earth?
I've had a lot of comments on my review say it's Earth Prime.
I think it is.
I think so too, because I forgot about things like John Diggle moving to Metropolis and things like that. Like, these are rumors and things that they said earlier on, though now they're saying John Diggle's Green Lantern story will continue in The Flash. But I have been hearing a lot of rumors that he is moving to Metropolis and, a couple other connections. So it's like, okay, so this is probably the prime Earth where all of this stuff does exist.
I heard they're not going to do any huge crossovers, but they might do like small crossovers.
I'm fine with that. I don't need any. Let this one stand on its own 2 feet. It's perfect as it is.
It's great right now. And Supergirl is in the last season. So I don't know if I hope they take the opportunity, if it is in the same universe, to have them have some time together.
I think the main reason why there hasn't been any crossovers, or there's no planned, it's down to the COVID restrictions on filming.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I know
that too.
They might be able to get one actor though to come over to the other one. They couldn't do like massive.
Well, I had read they had a Batwoman crossover planned that, because of the COVID restrictions, is not going to happen. So
yeah.
I don't know how true or not true that is. Do not take that as gospel, but that is one of the many internet rumors that I saw that is for sure not going to happen now, probably because of those COVID restrictions. So it seems as if in this show's future, whether or not this season or not, in this show's future, there might be some crossovers. But in my head, I'm like, keep that minimal. We really don't need it.
Yeah, I just really want, if they are in the same universe, there should be some acknowledgement to things going on in the other one. And otherwise have it be a different universe. And then if they need to have Kara, if it's the same universe, have it seen before Melissa's gone. That's how I feel. because otherwise it's unrealistic to me. It's like your cousin's here and we don't see her ever, so.
Yeah. Supergirl lost me after season 2, but I do like the actress who plays her. I think she does a good job in that role. So I agree with you that, this being her last season, whether he crossovers on her show or they bring her over on this one, it would be nice for them to have a goodbye.
So here's
we
how I
didn't
feel.
get that in Smallville. We were robbed of that in Smallville. So let's have that in this.
I never got hooked onto Supergirl. I gave it 16 episodes, and I was not hooked on any of them, and I felt like that was enough.
I liked it on CBS. As soon as CW took it over, it lost me.
Now, I've seen all the crossover episodes, though. So whenever, she was there or they were on her show, so I saw, her when Barry came over to Supergirl. That's one of the few Supergirl episodes I saw post those 16 episodes.
Yeah, I think I'm halfway through season 4 at the moment.
Oh, how are you enjoying it? Like, is it something you're able to get through, or is it not your favorite?
Well, I've just been watching so much Smallville recently that, I just kind of like got drift in and out. Yeah, but I did go back to the pilot again and did season 1.
And if anyone's watching this and hasn't seen Smallville, you need to see Smallville.
Yes, you do.
It's worth it. It's a great series. So, and then
I love your background being Clark's loft. That is awesome.
So I'm in Clark's loft from Smallville, if you didn't know, and this is also Clark Kent here. So
nice. I love it. I got mine too. They were playing.
Yes, we all have our Smallville shirts.
Oh,
on.
Luthor Corp. Yes, beautiful.
I don't need it to be constant, but otherwise, I would be fine with it staying on its own completely if it was in another universe.
Yes.
And I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine if it was if it wasn't Earth Prime, if it was Earth 230 or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna have it in the same, you've gotta have something, because otherwise it doesn't feel real.
I guess I wouldn't mind if Barry Allen crossed over, because could you imagine how much fun the kids would have meeting the Flash and watching him run fast and trying to see if they could match him or something? Like, that'd be kind of fun.
I love Barry, and Grant really, when Grant comes on with another actor, it's just amazing what happens. I mean, him and Melissa together are amazing. Him and Steven, oh my God. Like, when they're together, just something comes out between them, it's just really special. And I loved all the crossovers, and I'm really glad they got all that, the Elseworld crossovers and all that we got a lot of scenes between them. It was fantastic. What a great relationship they built, and they could do something like that here. I really think that Grant and
Tyler Hoechlin.
Names take me a while, so it'll get there.
It's fine. I'm only 4% certain I said his last name correctly, so we're
Grant
good.
And Tyler, actually, they already have had scenes together. But what was interesting is I wasn't as into the Clark Kent Superman character in his crossovers and Elseworlds.
I feel the same.
Because you know why? He felt too perfect to me. Like, I didn't feel the layers of struggle with him, and I don't think it's Tyler's fault. It was the material given, and so I also wasn't invested in that character yet. But now with this show,
it was Supergirl as well, rather than it being Superman.
Yeah, so I didn't see him when he was in Supergirl, unless it was like I said, I've only seen the first 16 episodes of Supergirl and the crossover episodes. So I have not heard good things about him on Supergirl. So
it's because of how they wrote him.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So this shows, we get to see the different layers and the struggles, and that's what I love, and that would be interesting now to see.
It's a whole new universe out there.
Yes.
So I mean, with Crisis, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Just like they can do whatever they want with Clark's kids. I mean.
Yep.
They really have so much freedom in this show.
They really do. And I'm looking forward to see what they do with that freedom. I hope they don't abuse it. We don't need CW drama, but we got a whole wide future ahead of us that is unpredictable.
It could go real bad, but let's hope that it continues being good.
Please continue to be good. CW, don't be yourself with this show. Oh.
That's all I have.
That's all I got too. You, Lisa, you got Easter eggs. You had some Easter eggs you wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah, flashback to Smallville. I spotted a crow's sign in the bedroom.
Yes, I saw that too.
Yeah.
Go Crows.
Someone pointed that out, I remember.
Yeah. And I mentioned the Schuster mine, but also back in there, where they lived in Metropolis, they had some chalkboards on the wall in the kitchen. I don't know if you'd spotted those, but there was a reference to Donna, a reference to Reeves.
Can I just say, I really hope they repaint the Kent house and get rid of that wallpaper. It's really ugly.
Yeah. With the cherries on there. And
I didn't notice that board. That's awesome. I got to go back and look
there
at
was
that.
also a reference to Schuster and Siegel on the chalkboards. There were two different chalkboards, or they changed over time. Yeah.
I missed that. I will look for that now.
Yeah. And you'd already mentioned about the the green car, but I spotted that straight away from the comic sleeve. Yeah.
And that was a great moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Right,
there's
Go ahead.
There's a fan theory out there that Jordan's anxiety problems and his nightmares come from the fact that he didn't exist prior to the the crisis, so that's why he might have his nightmares stem from that.
Interesting.
That is interesting. I'd be curious to.
It could be,
see if
or
there's truth to that.
Or what are these pills doing to this new?
Yes.
Kryptonian/human. That's interesting.
It can't be interacting in him the way it does with a human, so that'll be interesting.
I don't know. That's a little odd. Where Lois tried to be like, no, your anxiety has nothing to do with this. And I'm just like,
are you sure?
No.
There is alien and human genetics competing inside there. So come on.
Could be anything.
Yep.
Well, if you guys made it this far into our podcast, since we're at an hour and 43 right now.
Woohoo!
Thank you for listening, and we do plan to continue doing this, so I hope you enjoyed. Leave some comments below. We'd love to hear from you, and check out our other podcasts, The Wall of Weird for Smallville.
Link in the description.